Are you not sure what kind of short form videos to post for your business? Well, here's your beginner's guide to what works and why it works. Hey, I'm Alex, and I help business owners grow their revenue by utilizing organic content. Now, if you're new to creating short form content, you might find yourself not knowing what to actually post. Well, you're in the right place. Today, I'm going to be breaking down the 3 most powerful types of short form content that you can create in your business to help move the needle today. But most importantly, we're going to be going through why they work and how they can help you grow an audience faster. Make sure you stick around to the end because I'm going to be sharing my content cheat sheet to help you create your next winning video. Let's start off by stating the obvious. Why is short form content so powerful right now? Well, unless you've been living under a rock, I assume that you've got access to social media. And the predominant format we see on social media is short form vertical videos. Now, other than stating the obvious that these videos are inherently shorter and shot vertical rather than landscape, there are a few key differences that you need to pay attention to when you're creating these videos. Because the content's vertical, it's quick and easy to digest. What I mean by that is it's got to be engaging. You really have to grab your audience within the first few seconds. It also has a much shorter lifespan, which means you need to create more content to keep pushing it across your platforms. Platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts are designed to push this style of content to new people, which means you've got a much higher chance to reach people outside your usual audience. The algorithm rewards content that keeps viewers watching to the end, which is why a good hook, storyline, and CTA is really important for these kind of videos. Today, we're going to be focusing on these 3 types of content which I recommend for beginners. Firstly, we've got educational content, and what I want you to think of here is your myth busting, your how-tos, your industry specific knowledge, and how we're going to share that with your audience. Number 2, we've got entertaining content. So this is slightly light-hearted, it's more relatable, and it's typically easier to create. So meaning you can create on the fly rather than necessarily having it planned, scripted, and having all that organization put into it before you can create that piece of content. Thirdly, it's behind the scenes. Everybody has got a behind the scenes to share, and I know what you probably think is mundane and boring. I promise you to somebody else it's interesting and new. Your day-to-day translates into building trust with the customer. This is because you're giving a real insight into who you are, who your business is, and what actually happens. I'd recommend to rotate these 3 different types of content so that you can keep your feed looking fresh and that you've got different kinds of content going out regular. Let's now break down these 3 different content types into real-world examples that you could use for your business. For example, educational content. Funny enough, it's exactly what you're watching now. Although this is a long-form YouTube video, the essence is still the same. I've been a videographer for the last 10 years, and I'm trying to break down my industry knowledge on how that can help my audience, which is yourself, business owners, on creating content. So how can we flip the role around for you? So say you're a solicitor. How could you use your industry knowledge to educate and build an audience? Here's a real world example. This is an accountant that I follow on social media, and she gives tips and tricks on how to deal with HMRC, which, if you're in the UK, is our tax governing body. But the way she does it is, she's really clever because it's entertaining first of all, which means I want to watch it. Typically when I'm on social media, it's in the evening, I've got a little bit of downtime, and I'm just trying to pass the time. But when I see something like this pops up, first of all, I'm slightly interested because as a business owner, being tax efficient is in my advantage. Secondly, it's entertaining, so it's already breaking down that barrier. Nobody wants to watch any tax legislation at 7 o'clock on a Friday night, but they are probably more likely to watch a short form video by an interesting creator that's got some fantastic points to share. I mean, typically when you think of accountancy, it's not necessarily a glamorous industry to be in. But this creator here has used it to their advantage, and they're growing an audience by putting an interesting spin on it and at the same time gaining the trust of the audience. Number 2 is entertaining content, and there's 2 ways to look at this. Number 1 is you take yourself too seriously and you think if you do entertaining content, people won't take your business seriously. And I can guarantee you that is not true. If you need any examples of this, look at all the comedians that have landed massive brand deals over the last few years with Fortune 500 companies just from posting silly little skits on Instagram and TikTok. What we're trying to do with this style of content is make you relatable to your audience. So if you can do it in a funny way, all the better. For example, this creator here, he's a plumber and he creates funny little skits about installs he does in customers' houses. And finally, number 3 is BTS. This is such a powerful form of content. I'm sure you've all seen the videos that go viral when a creator has created a product on TikTok and then they've got a behind the scenes of them packing their orders to ship out. Again, this really helps to build that credibility with the audience because you feel like you're a part of that journey, especially if you're a customer that's already purchased. It's interesting, you might see them pack your order, you've got that brand affinity. It's continuing the story, and that's what we want to go for. We want to build a community, and that's where we'll be able to nurture a really, really profitable audience. What I want to do is I want to break down of how these different types of content are going to help match up with your content goals. For example, educational content. It builds trust and it helps to position you as an authority figure in your industry. Number 2, entertaining content. It creates that connection with the viewer, which is what we really need to do if we want to build an engaged audience. Finally, behind the scenes. This builds relatability and deepens that connection. The key is you need to match your content with your business goal. If you're launching a new service, maybe lean into the educational content a little bit more. And then the behind the scenes to document the journey and to build that credibility. All these different kinds of content are absolutely wonderful, but it means nothing if you can't capture your audience's attention. And what I mean by that is the hook. Most people scroll within the first 2 seconds of a video. So your hook is everything. Ask a question. Do something slightly unexpected, something to grab the viewer's attention. Something else I've come across before is people forget to put a CTA. And don't get me wrong, we don't want to add this onto every single video, but once in a while, it's not so bad to ask for something once you've delivered the value. This could be as simple as follow me, save this video, comment somebody beneath that'd benefit from it. It doesn't always have to be trying to sell something. You can simply use it to build the audience as well. Let's move on to how you should be structuring your videos, and we're going to follow a really simple 3-step formula for this. First is your hook, which we've just spoke about, so something to grab the viewer's attention. Number 2 is the value. Why is it worthwhile for your audience to stop and watch this video? What are you providing them? Number 3 is a CTA. How are you going to direct the viewer at the end of the video to further help them progress through your content funnel? That's it. A hook, provide value, and a CTA. No rambling, no overthinking, just value, clarity, and direction. So all this is great, but what happens if you start to get content fatigue? To stay consistent and avoid burnout, I typically start to develop content pillars. This is something that you're going to want to do as soon as you've started to get a regular schedule for creating content, because typically you're going to run out of ideas pretty fast. I am going to do a full separate video on this on how to come up with your content pillars that's going to work for your individual business, but typically we're going to run them around themes that work within your brand, like client results, tips and tricks, FAQs, and collaborations. There's lots of different areas we can pull from when we create these content pillars, but typically what we want to do is have as many as possible so we've got as many different areas to pull ideas from for our videos. So if you've been overthinking what to post, now you've got the start of the formula. Rotate between educational, entertaining, and behind the scenes to begin with. Keep it short. Hook, value, CTA. That's all you need to start posting. If this video has helped, I'd really appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up, subscribe, because there is going to be a lot more content like this coming out on the channel to help business owners start to grow their revenue using organic content. That's it for today. Good luck creating your next video.